Most of us are going to feel really ineffective at this time, or just unable to do anything because we don't have the resources, or we just don't have the energy to implement those changes because of the ruler of this lunation being in a sign where he can't really take action. Pluto's role in this chart is the role of a bulldozer. He's going to break down walls where we are resistant. He's going to be behaving like a wrecking ball, so we can continue to hold on and resist change. Pluto is going to come through like a wrecking ball, and he's going to break things down, and then we'll have no choice but to let go. For those who don't understand how to use the Scorpio energy, my advice to you is to wait for Mars to be in his own sign and to wait for Mercury to be moving direct. That would be a better time for you to make life-changing decisions. But if you're pushed into responding, then you have to do what you have to. But just keep in mind and be sensitive to other people's emotions. People are going through a lot right now, and you cannot know the level of pain another person is dealing with if they don't talk about it, so you don't know what's going on. So be sensitive to other people. Don't push anyone over the edge. This is a very, very sensitive area in our chart. There's just been a concentration of transformative energy in the month of April. It's really been a lot. This is the most intense month of the year. This is where the tables begin to turn. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for being here. And a big welcome to all my new subscribers. I would like to thank all the people that bought readings with me. It was a pleasure reading you, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm still running the special reading for the Jupiter Uranus conjunction. It's only $80, so book now. It's a limited time special. If you like the content of this video, please hit like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate the people that comment on my video. It really helps increase the visibility of my video. That way the YouTube algorithm can recommend my video to other people. So please comment, like, share, and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. And it also encourages me to make more free content. If you want more free content, please be a participant. Comment. Let me know how you think this full moon is going to affect you personally. Comment below. The full moon in Scorpio is happening on the 23rd of April at 7:48 p.m. This is Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you're checking the time for your own location in order to get the correct ascendant. The moon is in detriment in the sign of Scorpio because the moon is most comfortable in the opposite sign of Taurus. The Scorpio full moon is the culmination of the Aries solar eclipse that we just had. That eclipse was ruled by Mars. This full moon is also ruled by Mars. It's also after the Jupiter Uranus conjunction that we had last week. So eclipse season is now officially over with this full moon. Full moons in the sign of Scorpio also tend to feel somewhat eclipse-like. They have that eclipse energy because at this full moon we are being asked to transform something that we have held onto for a very long time, because Scorpio is also a fixed sign. It is a fixed water sign. Water signs are emotional signs. They're feminine signs. They hold our emotions that we've held onto for a very long time, emotions that we do not want to acknowledge. If we do not acknowledge those emotions or deep resentments, therefore how can we let go of them? This full moon is going to bring all that resentment, all the things that you've been harboring inside, all that anger and fear for some. It's all going to come up now, and all that energy needs to be released and transformed. It needs to be purged. So a lot of you will be letting go of your dark side, your dark emotions, the famously called shadow. This is going to expose the shadow side. We all have a shadow side, Every sign has its light energy and its dark energy. Things can get pretty dark in the Scorpio house of our chart. This is a sensitive area where this full moon is highlighting all those things we probably don't want to deal with. This full moon is going to make us feel raw, emotional, and sensitive. There is a complicated, challenging T-square between the Sun, Moon, and Pluto. This is one of the most challenging aspects we have in astrology. Scorpio rules the natural 8th house of the zodiac. The 8th house is the house where we keep secrets. These could even be the secrets that we keep from ourselves. So this is going to be highly uncomfortable because the truth will be revealed and secrets are going to be exposed. So feelings like fear, jealousy, obsession, manipulation will be really enhanced by the full moon in Scorpio. So all our hidden fears and resentments are going to come up to be purged. I'm a Western astrologer, so I generally use whole sign houses, especially when I'm reading for a large group of people like here on YouTube. But when I do personal readings, I use the Placidus system, as I find that is a bit more exact and it just works better for me. You can use any system as far as I'm concerned, but if you want to use the Placidus system, then you have to keep in mind that the degree you're looking for is 4 degrees of Scorpio. This is the area which is highlighted, so look for where 4 degrees of Scorpio falls in your natal birth chart. You may have to listen to 2 signs. Make sure you also listen to your sun sign and your moon sign. I'm going to encourage you to listen to the whole introduction of this video, because this is where I discuss the aspects and who this energy is going to impact the most. And if I have a personal story, I share that usually in the introduction so that everybody can hear it and I don't have to repeat all this information for each and every sign. And if you're trying to learn astrology, always listen to the introduction of any video, because this is where the meat of the video is. This is where you get the knowledge. This is where you get to find out how the aspects are interacting with other planets in a given chart. This information is invaluable when it comes to deciphering how this energy will affect you according to your own natal birth chart. And if you'd like to get a reading with me, you can book me at rachel-mayo.com. So who's going to feel the effects of this full moon intensely? Of course, it's you, Scorpio. The full moon is happening in your sign. The other fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius, are also going to be affected by this, are also going to be highly impacted by this full moon, especially if you have something at 4 degrees of the fixed signs. So if you have a point planet or an angle at 4 degrees of any of the fixed signs, that degree is going to be activated. Taurus is going to be feeling the opposition aspect. So essentially this means that others are going to challenge you and perhaps oppose you at the time of this. So at the time of this full moon, Leo and Aquarius are going to have the square aspect. These are the 2 signs or the 2 areas that are going to be pushed into taking action. So this might be a bit challenging for you, especially for Leo placements, because you're going to be experiencing the grand square. You're going to be experiencing a fixed grand square. That's all your angles being activated. The water signs are going to have the most positive experience with this full moon, and simply because water signs trine each other, the energy is going to flow harmoniously to your placements, and things that are meant to come your way, things that are supposed to happen, will just happen effortlessly. Things will just come to you easily. The earth signs are also going to have a positive experience simply because this full moon is going to sextile your earth placements, especially if you have those placements at 4 degrees of any of the earth signs. The earth signs are Taurus. Unfortunately, Taurus is going to have an opposition with this one. Capricorn is going to have a sextile aspect. Virgo is also going to have a sextile aspect. A sextile aspect is an aspect of effort. This is energy that is present for you to take advantage of. So it's up to you to make an effort to grab those opportunities. Use this energy. If you don't use this energy is just going to dissipate. So you have to take action. If you are born on or around the 23rd of April, you're going to feel this energy really intensely, simply because it's going to be part of your solar return chart. You're going to have a full moon in your solar return. This is going to be a highly impactful year because you'll be ending a lot of things, and when we end things, we begin new things. So this is definitely going to be a year that you're going to remember for a while. This is an excellent time for you to book a solar return chart reading with me so that we can find out where that house is, where this concentration of massive endings and transformation is going to be. So book a solar return chart reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. The ruler of this lunation is Mars. So Mars is highly activated at this full moon. So if Mars is your Loi, L-O-Y, meaning the Lord of the year, in Hellenistic astrology, you're probably going to have an event happen because Mars is being activated. If Mars is your Mahadasha Lord, meaning your Time Lord in Vedic astrology, that means your Time Lord is being activated. If your ascendant ruler for the year is Aries or Scorpio, it means that Mars is ruling you for the year and he's being activated at this full moon. Let's also keep in mind that Mars was initially activated at the Aries total solar eclipse. Full moons are a point of maturation. So whatever we planted at the new moon on the 13th of November last year is coming to an end or a culmination. You are completing whatever it is that you were working on starting from that period. Scorpio is an intense sign and it has a strong need to control everything and to hold on to everything tightly. We're being asked to let go of control. It's time to surrender. The Scorpio energy is really trying to remind us that nothing lasts forever. Change and evolution has to take place in order for us to evolve. So you must allow things to die away so that new karma and new things can come into your life. So let's go over what Scorpio rules in the zodiac. Scorpio is the natural ruler of the 8th house of the zodiac. This is a dark place. This is a place where we don't want to go into and start moving things around and investigating. So this is the place that's being highlighted. It is a hidden house. It's also the house where things come to end or transform. We're going to be experiencing a lot of endings and new beginnings because whenever we end something, something else has to begin. And the things we're going to be ending in this area are the things that we really don't want to end. The things that we really are reluctant to end. We're resistant to change in this area. It's an area we also tend to hold on. If you're not really experiencing the negative energies of this lunation or all of the activations that we've had this month, be there for somebody else. Hold space for somebody else. This is the time for us to exercise compassion. You don't know what the person next to you is going through. You don't know what your friends or family are going through at this time. How much pain or perhaps even anxiety that people are experiencing because of the intense energy of the month of April. It's important to be really sensitive to others. Be extra accommodating for other people's reactions and emotions, because some people are going to get triggered by this energy and they're going to react in an irrational manner because we don't have the proper direction. The planet that rules where we're supposed to go towards our destiny is kind of feeling directionless at this time, and he's ending cycles. Our Pisces area of our chart, we're all dealing with some type of deep endings, some type of intense emotional energy, because the water signs is where we have our emotions, and the darkest one and the deepest emotions, the still waters, are in the sign of Scorpio. So if you can be there for somebody else, be that shoulder to cry on, it will be deeply appreciated. With this 1 month, we've had a lot of energies activated. We had the total solar eclipse in Aries. We had this Jupiter Uranus conjunction. So that means the rulers of the south node, Venus, was activated at the eclipse because she conjuncted the north node, and she also conjuncted Chiron and activated the eclipse. Venus was the ruler of Venus was the ruler of the conjunction in the sign of Taurus. And now Venus is transiting her own sign of Taurus, where she's dominant. So the Venusian and Martian energy has been very, very strong this month. The 8th house rules over other people's money and earned money. Money that is just given to us, money that is loaned to us. So this means that it also rules over loans, mortgages. It also rules over stock investments. It rules over inheritances, taxes. This is the house that also rules over deep intimacy. This is the house where we merge with another person on a deep, intimate level. We merge our finances, we share our resources. This is where we're going to feel this deep transformative energy. This is the area which is asking us to be really honest and fearless and making the necessary changes and transformation. Resistance to change is futile. The other ruling planet of Scorpio is Pluto, and Pluto tends to destroy whatever it touches. So that means it's an absolute death, and then you have to rebuild into something else and rise like the phoenix. This is why one of the symbols of the Scorpion is the phoenix. This energy is energy that will burn everything down to the ground. That will burn the house down so that you can begin to rebuild. Essentially, what I'm trying to say to you is, after this full moon, the structures in our lives in this area are not going to remain the same. They will have to be burnt to the ground and transformed, or changed in some way and transformed into something else. They have to take another form. We have to allow something else to begin anew in this area. So if you've been harboring resentments, dark feelings that you don't want to deal with, this is the perfect time for you to let everything come up to the surface so that you can release it. If you need to go into therapy, use this energy to really transform yourself, to release the negative feelings and obsessions that you may be holding on to. For others, whatever is due, whatever karma is due, is going to be brought up at this time. If you owe people money, the bill is going to become due at this time. On the positive side, some of you will be able to finish paying off what you owe to other people. And since the 8th house also rules over shared resources, for some of you, this could be the point where you're dividing resources, you're going through a divorce, and you're separating your resources. In most cases, this is something that you've been working on for a while, and now everything is coming to a head and a conclusion. So let's take a look at the aspects of this chart. We have the moon at 4 degrees of Scorpio, opposing the sun in Taurus at 4 degrees of Taurus. This is essentially the description of what a full moon is, the sun and moon opposition. The rulers of this lunation are Mars and Pluto. Mars is currently transiting in the sign of Pisces, and he is at 24 degrees of Pisces, and he's still sextiling the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. So he's not directly aspecting this lunation. Pluto is the other ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler of Scorpio. He is currently transiting at around 2 degrees of Aquarius. So he is directly aspecting this lunation. He's squaring the sun and the moon. It's forming the T-square that's bringing this challenging energy to this lunation. And let's keep in mind that Pluto tends to bring destruction and death to whatever he touches. Something is definitely ending and has to be released at this time. This is the most exact aspect of this lunation. And as we can see here, this T-square is leaving an empty space in the Leo area of our chart. So for all you, so if you have anything in Leo at around 4 degrees of Leo, it's going to form a grand fixed square. So I would say Leos are the people who are going to really have a challenging time with this energy, especially if you have something at 4 degrees of Leo. Mars is still expressing the energy from the previous solar eclipse in Aries, because he's still in the same sign. He's still in Pisces, where he's not as effective. Mars in the sign of Pisces is a spiritual warrior. He's not really, his ability to react instantly and take action is kind of removed, is kind of taken away from him in the sign of Pisces. So we're not going to have that energy. In fact, some of us are going to be feeling really tired and having these really strange dreams and just not really feeling it, especially since Mars is now approaching Neptune, the other ruler of Pisces. This is going to intensify the energy of feeling lost at sea. Some of us are going to be feeling really helpless and overcome by this energy. And this is so important because Mars is the ruler of the North Node. The North Node is where our destiny lies, our future, our future, the place that we're supposed to go to. So when the ruler of the North Node and the ruler of this lunation is in a place where he's rendered ineffective, we really have to just try and use the energy that he's good at in this sign. That means we have to rely on the energies of the 12th house, because Pisces is the 12th house of the zodiac. We have to let go of old energy, old things that we've been holding on to, are the things that need to be released at this time, because Mars in this sign of Pisces, 12th house energy, he's also closing out chapters, is ending things that he probably started about 2 years ago, because this is the last time that Mars was transiting this sign. So think about the things that you've been working on for the past 2 years, the things that you are probably in denial about, things that have not worked out. It's time to release those things. This is how we work with the energy that is being presented to us at this time. Mars is the sign that is directing our future. Use your subconscious. That's 12th house energy. Rely on your intuition. That's 12th house energy. And for those people who are good at meditating, go ahead and meditate. Maybe it's going to help you calm down and feel centered, back to source. I feel it's important for us to take a look at the Aries house. We just had the total solar eclipse in that house, and Mars also rules Aries. He's going to enter his own sign at the end of the month, and that's when we're going to feel whole again. That's when we're going to feel the energy come back to us. At that time, we'll be able to take action, physical action, to implement changes in our life, or to end things that need to come to an end. We'll be much more courageous then. And anyway, Mars is going to conjunct the North Node, and at this point, we are just going to feel this push to take action. And after he conjuncts the North Node, he's going to conjunct the eclipse point. So he's essentially going to reactivate his own eclipse. And when an eclipse is reactivated by Mars, we definitely have to take action at that time. If we don't, circumstances or other people will push us into taking action. So this is time to just really absorb everything. Make a constructive plan of how you're going to release or end what needs to be ended. Mercury is still currently transiting retrograde, and he's heading backwards to conjunct the North Node. At that point, Mercury is also bringing in more information that he has discovered, information that we probably need to implement the changes or the letting go that needs to be done as a result of this lunation. The moon is lonely in the sign of Scorpio because there's no other planets in this sign. So this is why we're going to feel very emotional and alone, and almost a feeling of being abandoned by the world. All the other planets are transiting in the sign of Taurus. In the sign of Taurus, we have Jupiter at 22 degrees of Taurus, and we have Uranus at almost 22 degrees of Taurus as well. They just completed their conjunction last week. If you like the content of this video, please hit like, share, and subscribe. I'm so grateful for all the people that commented on my previous video. Commenting is really appreciated. It really puts my videos out there. The algorithm is able to pick it up because they can see the interest in the video and all the likes. So if you'd like to see me create more free content, please support me. Leave me a comment. Tell me where this lunation is happening in your chart. Let me know how you think it's going to affect you. Or if you have any other questions, ask me in the comments section of this video. I always answer viewer questions promptly. Thank you so much. Aries ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 8th house. This is where you're going to have this transformative energy of endings and culminations. Aries, if you've not watched the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the introduction because I talk a lot at length about the 8th house. The 8th house is another Martian house. You're ruled by Mars, and the 8th house is a Scorpio house, also ruled by Mars and Pluto. So you're somewhat familiar with the energy of the 8th house. You're not so afraid of it. I'm going to start with positive possibilities. So if you had a mortgage and you've been paying towards it for a while, this is the time that you're going to finish paying that loan. You're finally going to own your home outrightly. If you've been dating someone for a while, this would be the time that you decide to move in together and merge finances. So you have the access to other people's resources. For the people that don't already own a house, this could be the time that you're actually approved for that loan. And if you've been harboring these deep resentments and just really dark emotions, this is the time that you're going to decide to release these emotions. You're going to do an emotional purge. Some of you are going to decide to get healing through therapy. And for some of you who have been going through a divorce, this is the time when maybe the divorce is finalized and now you have separated your resources and a new chapter in your life is beginning. Others of you will be receiving an inheritance as a result of somebody in your family passing. And so with this energy, there is the ending and a new beginning, because your life is going to be transformed. If you were having money issues, now you have money to redirect to restart your life. Aries, this energy is asking you to be really honest about your feelings, your deep, dark emotions that have been holding you back, or perhaps holding you back from intimacy or bonding with another person on a deep soul level. So if you have any barriers to intimacy, this is the time to let those barriers go. Nobody deserves to be alone in this life. It's already lonely enough as it is. There's so much disassociation. There's so much detachment from emotions. So if you want intimacy in your life, this is a time for you to let go of the barriers to intimacy. Your ruling planet Mars is still currently transiting the sign of Pisces, where, like I said, Mars is really feeling ineffective. He's tired, he's groggy, he's probably drunk or high. Not saying that that's what you're doing, but that's the kind of feeling Mars gets. That's the kind of energy we get from Mars in Pisces. He doesn't really have the ability to jumpstart things. He's ending things. He's completing a 2-year cycle around the zodiac. So he's going to enter your sign at the end of the month. You're going to start feeling much more energized and able to take action. So if circumstances happen, things are brought to you and you're pushed into taking action, just make sure you're using your intuition and listening to your subconscious, your dreams before you make a decision to react. Aries, if you'd like to know how this energy is going to affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Taurus, ascendant, sun or moon. The full moon in Scorpio is happening in your 7th house. This is where you're going to have culminations, transformation, and endings, and perhaps new beginnings, because whenever we end something, something else has to start. The 7th house is an angle house, and whenever an angle is activated, it activates all the other angles in our chart. Taurus, you already have a lot of energy going on in your chart, and this feeling of endings and new beginnings, because you're hosting the Jupiter Uranus conjunction, that is another new moon energy in your sign. So you're probably feeling really raw and sensitive with all this epic energy in your chart. Now you have this opposing energy in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships. Anything that we do with another person is a 7th house issue. This lunation is going to increase the sensitivity you're already feeling, but you're going to get reactions from another person, because the full moon is on the other person. The highlight at this occasion is on others. So others are probably going to bring sensitive issues, sensitive topics that need to be discussed, and perhaps bring about a conclusion, an ending to those issues. This could be the time that your marriage or business partnership comes to an end. You have all this energy in your chart that is making you act differently. So partners are not seeing you clearly, and you're standing your ground. You're expressing yourself in a different way, and other people might not be accepting of who you choose to be now, and how you choose to express yourself. Your ruling planet Venus is the ruler of the transiting south node, and she's currently in detriment because she's transiting a sign that she doesn't rule. She's transiting the sign of Aries, bringing energies of the south node. Venus previously reactivated the eclipse because she had conjuncted the eclipse point and was also conjunct Mercury. So Venus is going through a lot, and that is your 12th house. So you're also completing a cycle around the zodiac. So Venus is combust and is completing a cycle. You're not really feeling it. You don't have that vibrancy and energy. Whatever needs to end in your relationship area, just realize that it's needed so you can express who you truly are. So you really just need, if a relationship ends at this time, just let go, because this relationship is ending under eclipse energy. We're still within the eclipse energy, and when things end during eclipse time, they cannot be brought back. So if a marriage ends, just walk away. There's no room for reconciliation, and especially since it's happening in a Scorpio sign ruled by Pluto. Pluto destroys whatever it touches, and Pluto is aspecting this lunation. So whatever is going to be destroyed at this time is destroyed for good. Just release and let go and begin anew. You have all this energy in your first house to work with. Taurus, if you'd like to know how this energy is going to affect you according to your natal horoscope, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Gemini, ascendant, sun, or moon. This full moon is happening in your 6th house. This is where you're going to have culminations, endings, and transformation. The 6th house rules over our daily routine. It rules over the work that we do. It also rules over our health, our diet, our exercise regimen. This is the house where we fight. This is the house also that has our known enemies. I always tell my clients, your co-worker is not your friend. They are your acquaintance. If there was a competition for a promotion or extra pay or extra hours, your co-worker would be competing against you, essentially making them your known enemy. If some of you have been having problems at your place of work, this is the time that these problems are going to come to a head. There will be some type of ending as a result of that culmination. Perhaps you're going to be let go of a job. Perhaps you're going to be let go at your job, or perhaps you're going to quit your job. And if you've been dealing with a health issue, this is probably the time that your battle with a disease or a health problem is going to end. Probably this is the time that you're going to decide to try a different type of medication or a different type of approach. And for others that have been on a diet, been working out for a while, this is the time that you're probably going to start seeing some results of your hard work. If you've been involved in a lawsuit, this is the time that that lawsuit is going to be concluded. Gemini, your ruling planet Mercury, is still currently transiting retrograde in the sign of Aries, and he is heading towards the North Node, and he's heading towards the North Node. They're going to conjunct. Mercury also conjuncted with Venus, so you probably had some happy news or a happy moment in your relationship. Mercury is going to be turning direct at the end of the month. If you want to make some life-changing decisions, I suggest that you wait until your ruling planet is moving direct, and wait for Mars to be also in the sign of Aries so that you can have much more energy to make those changes. Cancer, ascendant, sun, or moon. This lunation is happening in your 5th house. This is where you're going to have endings, transformations, and culminations. The 5th house is a lucky house. It rules over our good luck karma, good luck that we earned in a past life that is available for us to use in this lifetime. We don't have to work for this good luck. This is most likely going to be a positive full moon for you, Cancer, as long as you're willing and ready to let go of what needs to be let go of. You're ready to purge those emotions and you don't allow yourself to overreact and become too emotional. The 5th house rules over our creative ability, and our greatest creation are our children. It rules over our talents, our ability to take our talents to the next level and start a business. Anything that you create needs nurturing in order for it to grow. So if you'd already started your business, this is probably the time that you're seeing some results from your business. You're making money. And if you are pregnant, it's very likely that you're going to give birth. A lot of people tend to give birth when the moon is full. So just make sure you have, so just make sure you're prepared for anything. And if you had an issue going on with one of your children or your children, this is the time that this issue is going to, end, or it's going to come to a culmination, and some decisions are going to have to be made at this time. The 5th house also rules over entertainment and romance. If you've been involved in a romantic relationship that has not been working for a while, this is the time that this relationship is going to come to an end. And you have to let go. And if some of you have been dealing with a blockage towards intimacy, this is the time that you're going to decide to get help, talk about these feelings, and possibly release them so that you can experience love again. Cancer is being opposed by the sun, the full moon, and is being squared by Pluto. So this is going to really push those hidden emotions to the surface for you to deal with, for them to be dealt with. You cannot hide these feelings and emotions anymore. You have to, you will be forced to deal with them. But the energy of the trine aspect is very supportive energy. So there will be somebody there who will be able to help you navigate these feelings or situations. Ruling planet is always involved in any lunation, so you tend to feel all lunations on a personal level, and this one is one of the most sensitive placement of the moon. However, you're a water sign as well, so you're used to emotions, deep emotions, and you are trining this lunation and sextiling the lunation. So you have energy that is going to assist you to deal with your emotions or whatever is ending or culminating at this time. If you want to know how this energy is going to affect you on a personal level, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Leo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 4th house. This is where you're going to have culminations, transformations, and endings. The 4th house is an angle house. When an angle is activated, it activates all the other angles in your chart. So it's very likely that you have changes in all areas of your chart. You may experience changes with your job, your standing in society. You may also experience changes within the self body, your ascendant. And then you're also going to experience changes with others, because others are being because your relationship axis is also being triggered at this time. The 4th house opposes the 10th house. This is a parental axis. Situations that are going to arise in your home area are probably going to affect your job or how you're seen by society or how you're seen in society. The 4th house is the most vulnerable angle in our chart. So you're really going to feel this energy on an intense level. And if you have a placement at 4 degrees of Leo, you're going to have a grand fixed square. This is really tough and challenging energy. You're going to feel like things are coming at you from all directions. The planet that is creating this T-square is Pluto. Pluto destroys whatever it touches. Pluto will force change and transformation if you're resistant to change. So this is a turning point for you, Leo. So some of you may be concluding chapters in their family. If your mother or a family member has been dealing with illness, this is probably the time that they're going to transition. The fourth house is another house of endings. Pluto is opposing you and squaring your other angles, therefore activating this need for death and transformation. Some of you may be facing eviction at this time, or some of you may be voluntarily moving houses because perhaps your lease has ended, or perhaps you're moving to another location, hopefully a bigger and better location. On the positive side, if you've been experiencing family problems, if you've been experiencing problems in your family, this is the time that things are going to come to a head. They have to be dealt with, and things have to come to an end, in order for there to be a new beginning, for things to transform. Your ruling planet, the sun, is always part of any lunation. So Leos tend to also feel any type of lunation on a personal level. After all, you're ruled by the sun, and the sun is opposing the other luminary at this lunation, and both luminaries are being squared by Pluto. This is a challenging aspect, so this might not be the easiest full moon for you. This might not be the easiest full moon for you, Leo. And the fourth house is also the place where we hold on to resentments. And these resentments could be towards our family, our mother, our ancestry. This is time for you to release and purge those negative emotions, and so that you can find healing and begin anew. Leo, if you'd like to know how this lunation is going to affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Virgo, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your third house. This is where you're going to have endings, transformations, and culminations. Virgo is an earth sign, so you are trining and sextiling this lunation. You're going to be presented with opportunities and options for you to navigate through this intense energy. The letting go and the purging is going to come easier for you, especially if you consciously do it. The third house rules over our immediate environment. It rules over our siblings, our neighborhood, our neighbors. It rules communication. It rules it also rules the gadgets that we use to communicate with others, or the gadgets that we use in our everyday environment to make life easier. So this could be your phone, your computer, your vehicle that you drive around in. These are the areas that are going to be highlighted by this lunation. So perhaps if you had conflict with a sibling or a neighbor, this is the time that things are going to come to a head. Some things may be said at this time, things that are really upsetting. And this could be you saying those upsetting things, or these things could be said to you. It just depends on what you're dealing with in your personal life. The third house also rules the mind. So if some of you have been experiencing perhaps headaches, or perhaps even mental issues, mental health illness, this is the time that you're going to probably find the correct medication to get on, or this is the time that you're going to accept that you do have a mental health issue and you're going to seek treatment for it. And for others who've been writing a book, this is probably the time that you're going to conclude this book and you're ready for it to be published. And since the third house rules our immediate environment, it could be that some of you are tired of your immediate environment, your neighborhood. You're just done. Maybe you have had it with your neighbors, you have problems with them, and you're going to decide to move away. So you're going to find yourself in a different environment, different neighbors. So that could be the ending right there, your living situation. If some of you have been taking some courses to improve your skills, this is the time that you're going to complete these classes. Your ruling planet Mercury is currently transiting the sign of Aries, and he met up with Venus He's close enough to Venus, so this is a good time for you to say I love you to someone, or to say or to send a sweet message, or perhaps even try and reconcile the issues that you're experiencing in your environment with your neighbor, or perhaps a sibling. Mercury is going to go close to the North Node. I don't think Mercury is going to conjunct the North Node again before he turns direct. So if you're trying to make some life-changing decisions at this time, Virgo, I would suggest that you wait until your ruling planet Mercury is moving direct, and Mercury will be moving direct a few days after this lunation. So be patient and be mindful of what you're saying to others, because people are very sensitive and feeling very raw and emotional at this time. You might be feeling that way as well. So just be aware of the energy and don't start problems, because you don't know what people are dealing with at this time. You don't know what people are dealing with this very sensitive, intense Scorpio full moon. Virgo, if you want to know how this energy is going to affect you according to your chart, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Libra, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your second house. This is where you'll have culminations, transformations, and endings. The second house is a financial house. It rules over our ability to earn money and provide for ourselves and our family. So if you're earning money and you're providing for yourself and your family, you have a higher self-esteem. This house also rules our self-esteem. But if that's not you, you're probably feeling really down and lack of self-esteem at this time. And this energy is only going to emphasize that feeling. The second house also rules over what we love and value. It rules over the family that we create with another person. We choose this family. We're not born into it. So some people may be experiencing family issues that are coming to a head at this time. And those issues could have something to do with finances or bills that are due to be paid at this time. So perhaps some of you have a business that you've been working on for a long time and it has simply not been bringing any type of profit. You may decide to end this business at this time, or transform, change something, or let go of a certain aspect of your business so that you can start to actually make money, to make a profit. If perhaps it's a partner that you're working with that is holding you back, you may decide to end that business partnership at this time. Others of you who've been wanting to start your own venture will be able to start their own business at this time. Your ruling planet Venus is the ruler of the South Node. Libra is hosting the transiting South Node, and your ruling planet Venus is transiting at the North Node at the time of this lunation. Venus met up with the North Node, so something fated that has to do with love or money or with yourself and others may have happened at that time. Venus also conjuncted Chiron. Perhaps at that time you may have experienced some type of healing. You may have met somebody who can bring a loving and healing relationship in your life. Venus is going to meet up with Mercury when Mercury starts moving direct. Your ruling planet reactivated the eclipse. You're bringing something to this. You're bringing something of value from the past to your relationship or your business contacts or business partnership. You are Venus. Venus is in detriment in the sign of Aries and is completing she's completing her travel around the zodiac. Essentially, she's in your 12th house, is about to enter her own sign early May. So if you have any life-changing decisions that you need to make at this time, I suggest that you wait for your ruling planet to be powerful in her own sign of Taurus. You're going to feel much more in control and let what needs to fall away, fall away. Your ruling planet Venus is not aspecting this lunation at all, so she doesn't have much of a say. So you'll probably be in situations where other people are bringing situations to you and triggering you. I suggest that you just exercise patience. These people are probably wounded people. These people are probably dealing with some old wounds and not feeling secure. So it's not advisable for you to throw fuel to the fire. Libra, if you'd like to know how this energy is going to affect you according to your sign, I suggest you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Scorpio ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your first house. It is happening on your ascendant. The first house is a very personal angle because it deals with you, yourself, your body, and how you want others to see you. So some of you are going to be purging some of you will be releasing deep resentments about perhaps how you look or how others see you or how you feel about yourself, because Scorpio is a very emotional and a feeling sign. They never show their emotions. As you know, still waters run deep. That's a description of a Scorpio rising. So others of you may be dealing with issues of resentment, anger, fear, obsession, jealousy, all those dark hidden emotions. So we're going to feel this lunation very personally and intensely, especially because our ruling planet Pluto is squaring this lunation. So it's almost like somebody is pushing us to the transformation. Circumstances that are surrounding us in our life, issues to do with our identity, others, and how others see us. When an angle house is activated, it activates the opposite angle, which is the descendant. This is a situation where you're dealing with the self and another person, and because the ascendant squares the MC, so some of you could be dealing with issues with your status in society, the work that you do, and the work that you do on authority figures. Some of you could be having issues in the home area because this is where the square from Pluto is coming. This is where Pluto is, and so this is where Pluto is aiming at you. So some of you are dealing with issues at home. So this lunation will trigger all your angles, and it could bring changes in all areas in your life. So if you've been wanting to change your identity, rebrand yourself, this is an excellent moon to do so, because you have to let go of the old self to bring out your new identity. So some of you will make a decision to have a sex change at this time. Scorpio does rule over the reproductive organs, so this is very likely for some people. Some of you may change your name as a result of a marriage or perhaps even a divorce. You may go back to your maiden name. It just all depends on what's going on in your life. It could be different for everybody. As you can see from the chart, there's a lot of energy that is concentrated on the other side, on your descendant in the Taurus area. It almost feels like people are against you, your partner is against you, and you're all alone on this side, because the moon in Scorpio is all alone. There's no planets there. It's just feeling all this opposing energy. But it's feeling the opposing energy from the sign of Taurus. So some of you may have been dealing with a breakup in a marriage. Perhaps you're in a process of divorcing. Uranus does tend to break up marriages and commitments when he's transiting the 7th house, but Jupiter is transiting along with Uranus, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which just happened last week. If you haven't watched my video on the conjunction, I suggest that you go back and watch it. And if you haven't watched the Aries solar eclipse video, I suggest that you go and watch that as well, because all this is kind of tying into, because all the stories are kind of all connected, and this is somewhat the culmination point. This is the purge and release point. So some of you may be releasing relationships at this time. It all depends on what else is going on in your chart, and if you have placements in the sign of Leo, because that would create even a more challenging experience that will further complicate your issues. Your ruling planet Mars is transiting in a fellow water sign. He is in the sign of Pisces. He's still trining that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is a supportive aspect. So there is some help here for you. Whatever happens, whatever internal conflict you're having, because your other ruling planet is actually squaring you and creating conflict, well, Mars is actually supporting you. So perhaps there's a male figure that is somewhat looking out for you, and perhaps you're getting some type of counseling or some type of spiritual counseling that is going to help you transform and transition to a better situation, a better and healthier place, or a better relationship, or a better self-esteem, or a better way of or accepting who you are and your identity and your new status, if there is a change in the status of your relationships. Scorpio rules 8th house energy. We're used to transforming ourselves. We're used to purging the old self and transforming ourselves. Scorpio rising goes through several transformations in their life. We're used to reinventing ourselves. This is nothing new. It's going to feel really raw and it's going to feel really raw and perhaps even challenging because we're experiencing the oppositions from our 7th house in the area of our partnerships. Perhaps marriages are ending, partnerships are breaking down, and you have to really, and it's time to release those attachments so that we can truly reinvent ourselves and rise again like the phoenix. Sometimes you have to burn everything down to the ashes and have a complete makeover, a new identity. We can do this, Scorpio risings. Make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section of this video. Let me know how you're dealing with this energy, and if you need further support, you know I'm there for you. Please book a reading with me and let's go through this together. Sagittarius, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 12th house. This is where you'll have transformations, endings, and culminations. The 12th house is a hidden house. It's a very complicated house. So having both luminaries in this area can feel very overwhelming. This is the area of our hidden enemies. So your hidden enemies will be exposed because of this lunation. This house is going to be lit up. Our hidden enemy sometimes can be ourselves through our own self-sabotaging habits, drinking too much, having bad relationships, or perhaps you have some addictions. These issues are going to be highlighted, and it's time for you to bring them. These issues are going to be highlighted and pushed to the surface for you to deal with them. Some of you may have a crisis moment, may have a breakdown at this time. Perhaps you're going to hit a low point, and you're going to realize that you cannot go any lower than that, and you have to deal with this problem, whatever that problem is. Some of you could be completing a stay in a foreign land, or completing some issues that you may have in a foreign land. The 12th house rules over things that are hidden. Hidden places like hospitals, asylums, prisons. So some of you could be coming out of hospital right now, or you're being released from prison. These are all things which are possible. You just don't know what's really going on in people's lives. If you've been having an illicit affair, perhaps with your boss or a married man or married woman, this relationship is going to be on the spotlight. The secret is going to come out, and of course it's going to create all kinds of problems if you're also involved with another person. I mention this because the 12th house is also the other house of sex. It's the house of hidden pleasures. So if you have issues with those things, that's also going to come up to be healed and purged at this time. Your ruling planet Jupiter is not directly aspecting this lunation. He is, however, aspecting it by an opposition by sign, because Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus. Jupiter has just completed the conjunction with Uranus. So that's still very much in effect, and you're probably still reeling from the effects of that conjunction, and you'll probably feel this lunation a little bit later on, because this is not really aspecting the degree of the lunation at 4 degrees. I would say Sagittarius is still dealing with issues from the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and they're not really feeling this. They're not really feeling this lunation as personally. Sometimes lunations in the 12th house have an after effect. We tend to feel them a little bit later on, after the curtain has been removed. So you'll probably be dealing with the issues of the 12th house when you have a full moon in your own sign in the 1st house. Sagittarius, if you'd like to know how this lunation is going to affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Capricorn, ascendant, sun, or moon. This lunation is happening in your 12th house. This is where you're going to have transformations, endings, and culminations. The 12th house is generally a lucky and happy house. It rules over our friends, the groups that we belong to, social media platforms. It also rules over our benefactors. It rules over our hopes, dreams, and wishes. It is also the house that rewards the work that we did in the 10th house. So therefore, you see accolades here, you see promotions here, you see a recognition with your peers or the groups that you belong to. So essentially that means some of you could have a culminating moment where they're recognized in the groups that they're recognized in the groups that they belong to. You'll be receiving a reward for all the work that you did before, and you're getting this recognition from your peers. Others on the negative side could be ending a friendship. Perhaps you've discovered some secrets about your friendship and you decide that it's time to purge this relationship and just release it. So there will be an ending with a close-knit friend, an ending with a close friend, or perhaps a network of friends, or even a whole group that you belong to. You might be exiting this group at this time. Saturn, your ruling planet, is not directly aspecting this lunation simply because Saturn is at around 16 degrees and the lunation is at 4 degrees of Scorpio. However, Saturn is transiting a water sign. Saturn will eventually perfect a sextile to the Sun, but right now he's still sextiling the Jupiter Uranus conjunction. And this is why I keep telling people to go back and watch my video, because that conjunction is still in effect. It's going to be unfolding over 14 years. So it's very much connected to whatever is culminating at this lunation. So if you'd like to know how this lunation will affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Aquarius, ascendant, sun, or moon. This lunation is happening in your 10th house. This is where you'll have endings, culminations, and major transformation. The 10th house is an angle house. When an angle is activated, it activates all the other angles in our chart. So essentially this means that you will be feeling this in almost every area in your life. The 10th house opposes the IC. The IC is the most sensitive. The IC is the most sensitive point in our chart. So whatever changes whatever endings and combinations that happen in your 10th house area, they're going to affect your home area. Some of you will probably have an ending with how some of you could have an ending with your status in society, how others see you, the public sees you. Perhaps you're getting divorced, or perhaps you're getting married. Therefore, your status is changing from single to married, or from divorced, from married to divorced, from married to widowed. All those things are possibilities. Pluto is transiting an angle in your chart and is already trying to break down and transform this area of your chart. And then you have the stellium in your 4th house. That is our most sensitive and vulnerable area. So this is where you had this conjunction. There's a bigger picture unfolding with your story because there's just so many variables going on and so many squares. It's almost like you're being pushed from every angle. Aquarius is feeling pressure from all sides, from all angles at this time. This is going to be a bit of a challenging and sensitive lunation for you. So I would suggest that you welcome the transformation and build a support system around you. Have somebody who can be there for you during this very difficult and challenging full moon. So some of you could be ending a job at this time. You may be quitting your job, or you may be fired from your job if you've been underperforming. Others of you will make this major decision to change the whole career and to start with something totally brand new. Your ruling planet Uranus has just perfected the conjunction with Jupiter, and they're opposing this lunation. They're not opposing it by degree, but you can still feel that opposition. But you are Uranus, so perhaps you're having some type of internal conflict. Your other ruling planet, Saturn, is still transiting the sign of Pisces, and he's aspecting this lunation by a sextile and a trine. It's not an exact by degree, it is still a valid sextile by sign. So whatever you're going through at this, there is some assistance. There is somebody who's going to help you put all the pieces together and try to rebuild where you need to, and help you let go and purge whatever needs to be purged out of your life. You've been holding on to these situations for a long time. You are a fixed sign after all. Aquarius, you have Pluto conjunct your ascendant. This is a very important transit. Only a few signs will ever get this type of transit. Pluto is asking you to change and transform yourself, to change and transform how others see you. So in this situation, since you're squaring this lunation, you might be the person that's really bringing havoc to other people's lives. So instead of being passive aggressive because of all the issues that are going on with yourself, within you, try and embrace the change and try not to take it out on others. It's time to let go and release and welcome new energy. Pisces ascendant sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 9th house. This is the area where you're going to have transformations, culminations, and endings, and perhaps some new beginnings. Whenever we have endings, we have to start something new. You're one of the signs that's probably going to have a positive experience with this lunation, simply because you're also a water sign. The full moon is happening in the sign of Scorpio, another water sign, and you're trining this energy. So you're getting supportive energy that is radiating towards your Pisces house. This is going to be very helpful at a time of deep purge and release. You're also forming a sextile to the sun in Taurus and the Jupiter Uranus conjunction. So you can see how the Jupiter Uranus conjunction is tying up, is kind of connected to this full moon. Whatever happened at that conjunction, if you did have an event, is leading up to this, full moon. The 9th house rules over our future. It rules over the justice system. It rules over foreign lands, foreign languages, foreigners. It rules over university, higher education, priests, gurus, our belief system. A belief system that was passed on to us by somebody who we respect, a teacher or a professor. Some of you could be completing university at this time. A full moon is a culmination point. So it could be a positive culmination. You receive a diploma or your degree at this time. Some of you have been away from home, traveling perhaps for education or business, could be completing that journey or stay in a foreign land. If you've had ongoing legal issues, this is probably the time that your legal issues come to an end. You're able to move on and deal with other things in your life. Some of you who have been waiting for a green card or perhaps citizenship, this is the time this process will be concluded and you get your citizenship, your green card, or whatever paperwork that you may need in order to go ahead into your future. This is the house where we legalize things. So anything that has to do with licensing, paperwork, marriage licenses, or perhaps you're planning to get married and you applied for a marriage license. If you're getting married, you're concluding a life of being single. If you've been a member of a cult or perhaps some type of fanatical religion or a fanatical group or religion, this might be the time that you stop drinking the Kool-Aid and decide to adopt a different type of belief system. Pisces, you are hosting the ruler of this lunation. Mars is transiting in your sign. So you have this energy. You're feeling really energized at the time of this lunation. Mars is not necessarily aspecting this lunation by degree. He is aspecting the moon and the sun at this time. So you're probably just feeling an abundance of energy. I would say use this energy to exercise. Avoid being passive aggressive with others. Your ruling planet Jupiter is not aspecting this lunation by degree, but he is opposing the house where the moon is. So there is an opposition energy going on there. You are Jupiter, so you're probably opposing somebody else. You're probably opposing someone in your immediate environment, or a sibling, or some type of communication. And your other ruling planet, Neptune, is also not aspecting this lunation by degree, but he is trining and sextiling the houses where the luminaries are. So that is a supportive aspect. So whatever you're going through at this time, there will be somebody who is going to give you a helping hand, or perhaps even a shoulder to cry on. So you have opportunities here to help this release and purge. So take advantage of the people and the support that you have around you. Pisces, if you'd like to find out how this lunation is going to affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com.